The best way to create, you know what? I'm not even gonna have an outline for this video. I'm just going to tell you how I have been able to create more wealth in the past 5 years than I had thought I would create in my entire lifetime. My name is Sam and I own over $42 million worth of real estate that I bought without using a dime of my own money. And I own a house buying company that in St. Louis last year, in the year of 2022, we flipped over 300 houses, 312 to be exact. So what I would like to do in this video is talk about the foundational concepts that I have known to understand, that I have known to make adjustments to, and that I have come to know, and I'm not gonna say perfect, but I've been able to really implement these in my life on a day-to-day basis, and they are putting a lot of money in my bank account, and they are creating more wealth for me than I ever thought possible. The number one concept that you need to understand and that you need to shift from what you've already been taught, so this isn't just understanding a concept, this is unlearning a concept and then learning a new concept. What you have to unlearn is that all debt is bad. Obviously, if you get into debt and buy things that you cannot afford, it is bad. But you need to learn to leverage debt and use it properly to grow your wealth. What does that mean? That doesn't mean pay cash for your car. Sorry, Dave Ramsey, he teaches you how to not be poor, but I want more out of life, and I think you probably do too, so I'm gonna teach you how to create wealth. He doesn't do that. So what you do is you leverage debt to buy assets. That's what all wealthy people do. That's what all companies do, from Amazon to Twitter to Facebook to Tesla to all these ginormous companies that are creating, millionaires and billionaires for their stockholders as well as their owners. They leverage debt. So you have to leverage it properly though. You have to not be scared of it. So get out of the mindset that all debt is bad. Paying cash for things is simply impossible. It's like 1 + 1 does not equal 4. You can't save your way to wealth. You can't hope to get promotions or hope to hit the next big crypto altcoin or hope to win the lottery or hope to create some app. You can't hope your way to wealth. You can't save your way to wealth. You have to learn to leverage debt. So get over the mindset that wealth is created through saving or through using cash. It's simply impossible. If you make 50 grand a year and you get promoted every single year and get raises and raises and raises and you're making $250,000 a year, 5 or 10 years later, that's still not a recipe for wealth. That is a recipe to enhance your lifestyle. That is a recipe to have a nicer house, to buy a nicer car, to maybe invest more in other things and put money into your 401k or maybe buy a rental property. It's a recipe to do a little bit more, but I want massive wealth, like FU type money, and I think probably you do too. The only way to get to FU money is to leverage other people's money. So understanding that not all debt is bad and properly leveraged debt is good, let's break it down even further and talk about how you properly leverage debt. So what you do is you borrow money from somebody else to buy an asset that produces cash. You take the cash that asset produces and you pay off whoever you borrowed the money from. And that asset that you bought with that cash from them, you own. And guess what? Assets create wealth. Specifically, equity in assets create wealth. See, I don't care how much my rental properties cash flow or not. I don't care at all. In fact, I have never taken a dime from my rental properties. My rental properties are my wealth. It's just a self-sustaining model where I use other people's money to buy the asset and pay them off, and the cash flow pays off other people, pays for owning expenses, pays for taxes, insurance, so that those rental properties that are creating wealth for me were not bought with my own money and not maintained with my own money. However, the fact that I own them and they go up in value over time and the mortgage is paid down by the tenant, that difference, that's equity, that is where wealth is created, whether you're talking a business or whether you're talking real estate. Owning an asset that is going to go up over time in value and that somebody else is paying down the mortgage, that cash flows, that is where that wealth is created. So do that with rental properties because that's a lot easier than starting the next Amazon or getting lucky on the lottery or an altcoin. So what you're going to do is you're going to utilize the BRRRR method. I'm not going to get into a ton of detail on that right now. Check out this video above here where I walk through the BRRRR method and show you in detail tactically how to buy rental properties. But for this video, I'm trying to give you some foundational building blocks and hopefully shift your mindset a little bit so that you are open to the concepts of wealth creation. Simply, most people are not open to that concept. They think that Dave Ramsey's the way to go, or they think they're going to save their way to wealth, or they think that buying one rental property in cash is going to set them up for life. while one rental property can help enhance your lifestyle and maybe create a little more wealth for you, it's not going to create that FU money that you probably want. You need to buy rental properties at scale, and the best way to do that is start with one and build from there. So we talked about debt and how it's not bad. We talked about buying assets and utilizing the cash flow to pay off that debt, and that equity is created through assets. So hopefully you're kind of starting to understand that and look at it that you're not going to create wealth for your 401k, even if you're a high income earner, because that's not in your control. You need to control your assets, and owning real estate is something that you can control. 90% of millionaires are created through owning real estate. So why would you try to recreate the wealth wheel? Go with what has worked, what's working right now. Even with high interest rates and even with everything that's going on, wealth is being created at massive scale right now, and what always will work in the future. Technology and AI and all these crazy things can replace and will replace a lot of jobs, a lot of tasks, a lot of technologies. That's always ever evolving, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. But what can never be replaced is somewhere to live. I know there's the metaverse and all these VR things going on, but people are always going to want to have dinner with their family, or sit on the couch and have a conversation with their kids, or go in the backyard and throw the football around, or have a swimming pool, or go to work and hang out with their employees, or go out to eat, or go to bars. You're always going to have to experience life. And guess where life is experienced? In real estate. So buy real estate, because technology can never fully replace it. I am sure there are aspects of technology that will replace aspects of real estate, but not at a large scale. I think I just saw the other day Disney and a lot of these big companies and Amazon and Apple are telling their employees, come back to work. This working from home thing is not working for anybody, because you cannot collaborate or interact, and people are people. They're gonna skis the system. They're gonna go take a 2-hour lunch break. They're not gonna work as hard. They're gonna set up a moving fan so that it hits their mouse every couple seconds so it looks like they're working. People are gonna do that. That's how people are. So getting in a workplace and owning real estate, whether it be a commercial or industrial or residential or multifamily, people need to live, work, and eat. So own where they live, work, and eat. The final concept that I wanna get across in this video, and please don't go anywhere, the video is not ending right now. I think this is the most important concept, so just stick with me, is overcoming that fear that you're going to fail. Because most people that are afraid of fear are not successful. Well, let me run that back a little bit. Everybody's afraid of fear. Nobody wants to be scared. Nobody likes that feeling of not knowing what's going to happen next. But acting anyway and being okay with what happens next is the most important step. If you know somebody that is extremely successful, then you know somebody that has failed multiple times. If you know somebody that is moderately successful, you know somebody that has failed a decent amount of times. If you know somebody that is not very successful, you know somebody that probably hasn't failed very many times. Are you connecting the two dots, or do I need to go deeper? That's what she said. What you need to do is be okay with failure and embrace failure. Of course, don't seek out failure and try to fail, but if you fail, that means you are trying to do different things and you are getting outside your comfort zone and on the fringe of what you're comfortable with. The fact that you're out in those areas, that's why you fail, because if you're walking, you're probably not gonna fall over your feet unless you're like my video editor Jaden and extremely clumsy. Sorry, dude. You've done it before, so you're not scared to walk because you've done it, you've practiced it over and over. So what you need to do is treat other things like that. And when you were little, my daughter has just learned to walk right now. That's why I use this example, because she's kind of always in the back of my head. She's falling a lot and bumping her big old noodle on the floor quite often and crying. But she's getting a little bit better every single day. Now that's a small microcosm of the example of creating wealth through real estate. But you're not gonna make the same mistakes over and over. You're going to learn, you're going to fall, but you're going to fall forward. And things like my YouTube channel and my podcast, The Faster Freedom Show, and the thousands of hours of free content I put out on social media can help you fail and can help you fall, but fall forward and maybe not bump your head as hard or maybe not lose as much money. You have to get over that concept of, I'm not gonna do it because I don't wanna fail. Well, if you don't wanna fail, then you don't wanna be successful. You have to be okay with one step to get to the next step. It's literally on the path of success. If we're specifically talking about real estate, there's borrowing money, step, finding a deal, failing a little bit, rehabbing the property, selling it, making money, finding your rental, failing, then getting a tenant in, then approving a bad tenant, then failing. Literally on the path to success, no matter what you're doing, I'm just using real estate as an example, you're going to fail. So having the proper expectations and anticipating failing will not make it hurt as bad when you do fail, because you will fail. I have failed a lot. I've also done a lot of really cool things. I just spent the last half an hour looking at private jets online. Not that I'm gonna buy one anytime soon, but it is not in that far of future. I do know that if I want a private jet, I'm gonna have to fail several times, and probably several pretty big times before I get there, and I am okay with that. So set some big dreams, make 2023 the year that you go out and start to make the steps and create the process and plan and start to walk that path of success, including failing. Just be okay with debt, understand that equity creates wealth, leverage it properly, get into real estate, follow me on all the socials, and I can help get you there. It'll take more than a few months, but it will take a lot less time than you think if you are okay with all the things I discussed in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me go uncrumble the outline and give it to my editor so he knows what the heck's going on. See you on the next one.